It is 8:40. Welcome back to CW Iowa Live. Lou and Jackie here, as well as Michael Jenkins, attorney at law, bankruptcy attorney at law, to give you some advice as to what you should and shouldn't do if you see somebody about your bankruptcy. And there are some pretty clear-cut things you should do and shouldn't do, aren't there?
And how appropriate on Cyber Monday when we're all seeing what we can spend our money on these days. Hopefully people aren't having to call you, but if they do, as Lou said, there's some things you should and shouldn't do.
There won't be any deals at my office.
No deals, no cyber deals.
No Cyber Monday deals?
At Jenkins' office today. Or free shipping, maybe, but let's see what's going on
Just
today.
Just free advice today, don't overspend.
There you go. There you go.
All right, so let's start with the do category. Some things you should probably keep in mind if you're going to sit down with somebody.
Okay, so, and this is just my opinion. I think most bankruptcy attorneys would have the same viewpoint, so we'll just kind of think that this is kind of universal. To begin with, when you come to see me or whichever bankruptcy attorney you select, it's good to come prepared. I offer a free consultation, and so take advantage of it. There isn't going to be a whole wealth of great information that we can share back and forth about what you should do if you can't really tell me much about your situation.
Right.
So at least be prepared to talk about it. We tell people when they schedule their appointments to bring certain things, and the vast majority of people do, and some people still can't seem to get that.
Okay, so what type of things am I bringing to you if it's the first time that I'm sitting down with you? What do I need to bring?
Well, we want you to at least be aware of what your debts are, at least the ones that are bothering you enough to call me, and how much you owe. We ask people to write them down. There's not much I can do for you if you can't share with me a little bit about your debt situation. And I also want to make sure that your situation is such that it warrants filing bankruptcy. I mean, unfortunately, I've got some people that are having a little bit of trouble in their own mind. I can't pay my debt, but it's only a couple $1,000s, and it's obviously not worth bankruptcy. So we really like to know going in that you're at least here for a good reason.
The right reason. Take us through a scenario. If I come in and I'm not prepared, what does that mean, or what does that look like?
Well, if a person doesn't have enough information about their debt, then I'll spend part of my appointment, which I don't really relish, helping them go get their credit reports. I'll go on my computer, I'll go to the internet to annualcreditreport.com and grab the TransUnion and Experian credit report, if they'll let me, the credit report place that is, and print them out, and we'll see what the debts are.
So whoever's coming in to see you should have done that by then.
Well, we don't say they have to go get their credit reports, but they should at least know their debts. So if that's the only way they can find out, it would be a good idea for them to have done so.
What if they come in with a handful of mail? These are the bills that are coming. Does that qualify?
Well, it qualifies as at least bringing some of their debts. Again, I don't really like to spend good parts of the appointment rifling through the envelopes and getting them opened up and everything when we could actually be talking about what those are.
Basically what we're saying is you're wasting time, and time means money.
Sure, because I mean, the appointment's about an hour, and the hour really goes by fast, and I don't really relish using the hour for unnecessary things when we could really be using it for good things and gathering information.
Yeah, clerical information when that should have been done ahead of time.
Sure.
Okay.
The other thing that is very important is we like people to bring documentation of their income, their last couple pay stubs. We want to at least have an idea where their income rests and whether it's going to be an income that'll qualify them for Chapter 7 bankruptcy or if it won't, and whether Chapter 13 bankruptcy may be one of the options. So we tell people, we ask people, please bring these with you.
Yeah.
And then finally, be prepared to at least talk about your living expenses, you know, your day-to-day stuff, the stuff you got to pay, the regular bills in the household every month, your Mid-America energy bill, your rent or your house payment, your water bill, your car insurance, things like that. Most people are very aware of it. Unfortunately, sometimes we'll have a situation where we got a husband and wife, and the husband comes to the appointment because the wife couldn't get off of work or whatever, and she pays all the bills.
Right.
So sometimes the husband doesn't really know exactly what that stuff costs, and so it would be a good idea at least to maybe have a discussion if you're coming in for your appointment with your wife and say, hey, what are some of these things we pay every month? But we don't run into that problem most of the time. but it's still a good idea to be aware of those things when
Yeah.
you're coming to talk to the attorney, because we look at that stuff and figuring out what your situation is, because part of this consultation is a financial evaluation to see, you know, how bad your situation might be. So just be prepared. When you get a free hour or so and get the most out of it.
Yes, use it in your best interest. So what are some
Sure.
other do's to make sure we're doing things correctly?
Well, once you've retained me to be your attorney, there's quite a bit of information that we require you provide to us, and that's laid out in our first meeting. And we want this information not to make your life miserable or to be difficult about things. I promise some of this stuff is stuff we really don't relish requesting either, but because the laws that are set up, we're required to get certain information.
Right.
But for all intents and purposes, most of the things that we're asking for are things so that we can do your case correctly, so that we can protect you in many areas. So we have proper disclosures of what your assets really are, and make proper disclosures to the court. So we just want to, we're doing this for your benefit, not to make life difficult. So if we ask for something, it's because we really need it and we expect that you provide it.
There's a reason.
There's a reason.
Okay.
Because our files are big enough with all the paper we have to collect, and we wouldn't be asking for it to make our files bigger unless we needed it.
There you go.
Another big thing that we expect of people, or we ask of people, is if you're not sure about should I be doing this or not be doing this while things are going on, rather than play a guessing game, or your husband says it's this way and you say, no, I think he said this way, I'd appreciate it if you could just call me and we can get it all clear, because we really don't want you to guess wrong, because sometimes if you guess wrong, the wrong thing could be costing you money. It could be detrimental. So don't be hesitant, at least to call me. I return all my phone calls. We like talking to our clients. So in that regard, we'd like calls to be maybe kept at a minimum, because we get so many calls a day. So we like people to sort of save them up and not just keep calling every time they think of something, and hear from people a couple times a day, 2 and 3 times.
Right.
So try to keep that to a minimum.
Gets a little overbearing. Now, what about the don'ts? What's the one thing, if you had a don't list, that you want people to make sure they don't do?
The most important thing is don't schedule a free consultation and then just not show up because you got cold feet, because it's free and you got nothing to lose. So you're just there to get information. It doesn't mean you have to do anything. So you know, come in for it, see what it's about, find out whatever information you can, and get the benefit of it, rather than just not showing up for the appointment or calling and canceling it just because you were scared, because there's really nothing to be scared of.
Okay.
All right.
Good to know.
That's
And
the bottom line.
We'll
yeah.
talk more do's and don'ts, because this is something that could be very beneficial in your life, or maybe it's something you don't actually need. You need to figure it out, but you have to start the conversation. And Michael, how can they get in touch with you?
You can reach me at 255-1855, and we can answer your questions on the phone. You can find us on the internet at www.iowa-bankruptcylaw.com, or you can follow us on Facebook.
There you go. So make an appointment, and then don't get cold feet. He's a really nice guy, so don't have to worry about being afraid of him, right?
I think so.
There you go.
No Cyber Monday deal, but he does have that deal every single day of that free consultation.
Wonderful.
There you go. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. It is 8:49, and we will be right back. And when we come back, oh, what about the finale from the Lance Burton Show on Saturday night at the Civic Center? If you want to see it, well, you will in just a couple minutes right here on CW Iowa Live.